welcome to Critique Hour. Thank you all for joining the live stream. It's been a while since I've done Critique Hour for a very good reason. I just took a little pause for myself. The channel was kind of trending a little bit towards almost no views and very little participation, which led to almost like a mental burnout for me. But I read all of your comments, and I read every single one, and I still go through them. Thank you so much to everyone who did all those, took the time to write all that. I really appreciate it. You guys are amazing. I'm going to stick around. I'm going to stick around and see what happens. I hope that, maybe someday, longer videos with more educational content will be popular again. So there's a way you can help. There is a way you can change the landscape, help me change it. You just have to interact with my videos in some way. There are people who get lots of notifications, but they are the regular people who interact with the videos in some way, leaving likes, commenting. Even if you literally just leave a letter or something, or an emoji, any kind of comment makes it so that you will get notifications next time I'm live. And if enough of that happens, people who never commented, never left a like, only subscribed and forgot, may start getting notifications if participation and interaction goes up. So that's one huge way you can help, if you would like to help in a non-monetary way. For those who do want to support the channel, there's always Patreon. I ask for just $1 a month for all of this educational content. I've been trying to reach 1,000 patrons for a really long time, hitting 3 years now since I opened the $1 slot. But if anyone's interested, please do join as a $1 patron. It's called a Watcher tier, and you get all of the long, unedited Critique Hour streams. And that's it for announcements. Portrait Studio is on sale right now, as well as my masterclass, and they are on the 50% off at the moment. I don't know how long the sale is going to last, maybe a week. I'm going to talk about both today. But if you would like your work critiqued, Istebrak, how do I get my work critiqued by you? First of all, everything about this is free. Joining is free. Going to the subreddit is free. You just have to go to istebrak.com. There's a bunch of links here at the top. If you are interested in Portrait Studio and all of that and my masterclass, go to the store right here. If you want to join as a $1 patron, click here. But this is the important link right here. This is the subreddit. Please join that and submit your art, whatever it is. Even if it's free art, you are welcome. The only restriction is that no NSFW stuff, meaning like no lewd or straight up adult material, but you may share nudes that are lewd, but not sexual lewd, if you know what I mean. So you can share anything you want. It's not restricted. I have recently softened up to the furry community, not the sexual part of it all, or those extreme ends of the fetish kind of world, just for those who really just want to make their art look realistic. And I've also changed a couple rules here and there. If you want to do anime and upload straight up anime drawings, even with a template, minimal rendering, as long as there's some level of rendering attempted, as long as you want to talk and you're open to talk about critiquing your work. Some anime community artists don't like critique, so that's why I pretty much closed myself off to them, because they seem like they have excused themselves out of critiquing because they're following the pre-existing manga style. So if you are open to critiques, you want to talk about composition, you want to talk about cool splashes, manga that you're referencing, etc., I have recently changed rules, and you guys may upload on the subreddit. It'd be really cool if I were to critique a manga piece based off composition and all that. And yeah, you can join right here and submit. You may also join us on our Discord community. I also pick pieces to critique from there. Both pieces I picked today are from the Discord. From the subreddit, however. Okay, let's get started. So we're looking at this piece right now, and for everyone asking, I will release a 3/4 view masterclass this summer. I will sit myself down and do it. It takes a lot out of you. It's a lot of content, a lot of writing, a lot of editing. So it just takes a bit of time, but I will get to it, I promise. So let's talk about 3/4 view. The artist that submitted this said that something was off and the mouth wasn't quite right. And I think what you were seeing actually wasn't just the mouth that was off, it was the jaw. Let's draw some lines. Let's draw some quick lines right now. Okay, so let's draw a straight line coming right out of the cheek. By the way, if anybody tells you you're not allowed to trace or draw or put any marks at all on your reference, put them in an envelope or put them in a paper and fold that paper into a paper airplane and just throw them out the window. You are allowed to mark up your photo references. You are 100% allowed to do that. Look at the distance between the straight line that's coming out of the cheek. I mean, it's a straight line. You can do it easily. Shift and don't lift your finger off of shift while making the line. It gives you straight lines. And if you don't lift at all, you can just make any kind, as long as your finger stays on shift on Photoshop, you can make any cool shape. So what's the difference between here and here? So the starting point of the chin and here and here. Very, very big difference, right? That's what you were seeing. If you've ever wondered how I can critique people's work like that, those are the lines that I'm seeing in my mind. These are the lines that are revealing everything. You should be able to draw these lines. Let's take a closer look. Upper lip line, oops, upper lip line and lower lip line. Upper lip line and lower lip line are on the exact same line. There's a gap here. There's no gap here. So if all the pieces you're referencing, if all your photo reference pieces are looking wonky, they don't look like the likeness, let's say, they've missed the likeness of what you're drawing. It's all in the measurements. Hey, Istebrak, what's the difference between this actress and this actor? Measurements. What's the difference between this actor's face and this actor's face? I already said that example. Measurements. I just can't think of any actors. What's the difference between Robin Williams' face and Anne Hathaway's face? Measurements, lines, that's it. It's only lines. It's not about form. It's not always about texture. It's mostly about lines. So if you don't know how to measure your reference, if you don't know how to build the blocks, the basic measurements, if you skip them, you're going to look at the lines. The lines say everything, right? So when I'm liquefying, I'm grabbing this whole section and just moving it this way. It wasn't the mouth that was troubled. It was the entire jawline. Let's look at other areas where your lines are inconsistent. So you caught the horizontal pretty well. So that looks pretty similar. You have to lift your finger off of shift so it doesn't connect to the next click. Let's take a look at the nostril, the middle of the nostril to the tip of the nose. Middle of the nostril to the tip of the nose. Look at the difference between this line and this line. If you don't see the difference, grab the friggin' line and take it over. Look at that difference. One is more downward, one is more flat. That's a likeness. You are losing likeness points. Likeness is, you can render as well as, like, really well, but the picture will still look off. The painting will still look off if you don't know how to measure. Learn how to measure your references. Write that back to me. And if anybody tells you you're not allowed to trace your reference, you're not allowed to interact with your reference, you're not allowed to grayscale your reference, send them to me. Send them to me. Show them send them to my website's form submission and just tell them, hey, if you have a problem, take it up with Istebrak, because Istebrak has given the entire human population permission to trace their references. Okay, you guys are allowed to do it. Trace the crap out of them. If you are having trouble doing absolutely anything with your reference, if you can't even get to this level, trace the entire reference if you can. Something's happening. Something's happening to my brush. So my brush has lost it completely. It doesn't matter. I'll restart. When we look at the jaw, we look at the jaw area. I don't know what's happening here. Maybe it's. Give me a second. Oh, idiot. Okay, so if we look at the jawline, let's draw a quick trace of the shape of the jawline. And let's draw a quick trace of your jawline. So I'm trying to keep my finger on shift I want a really, really straight line. You can't argue with a straight line. Write that back to me. You can argue with hand tracing. You can. But a straight line, even in physics and mathematics, is used to find trends. So this straight line, you have a bunch of crazy numbers and you want to find the trend line, and all kinds of ways that this math is used, and probability and everything. This straight line is what we're trying to find. You can't argue with the straight line. Keep your finger on shift and find all of these trend lines, these measurements, these minuscule changes. That's what's going to count, because this is a lot of stuff to this adds up. It's a lot of mini mistakes. It's a lot of stuff to make mistakes with. So corner to corner, you got the eye slant, pretty nice. Then there's the eyebrow slant, very mild in yours. Okay, so compare those two. These are all the major points that you can get with likeness. Okay, so if you guys are having trouble with likeness, even shadows, this helps you figure out your shadows as well, because if your features are all over the place, your shadows may suffer. One moment, please. Just need to clear my throat. As for the shadows, so I'm going to try to fix all of this stuff. Like, I'm going to try to just make all this happen really, really quickly. The shadows are a combination of you trying to use a hard brush to do a soft brush's job. So I ask you, when you're blending your makeup, you know how like you have makeup and you basically contour and then you want to blend it? This is an example for people who are familiar with makeup, I guess. Do you use like a brick? Do you go outside and get a brick? Or do you use a palette knife? I know makeup can be applied with like a softer edged palette knife. Some makeup artists do that just to lay down the contour lines or something. Do you dust your house with a brick? Do you go around trying to get all the dust off your shelves using a block of something, like a ceramic block? No, you use a soft edged duster of some kind to do the job. The reverse is the same. You can't use a soft brush to block, and you can't use a blocking brush to blend. It's just not possible. Each brush is different because they're offering you different possibilities. But somewhere, another thing I have to clean up from other really bad art teachers out there, somewhere someone told you a soft brush is a cheap tool, is a poor man's tool, it's not a good tool to use. And a lot of artists have suffered because of it, because well, they don't want to use soft brush because everything looks so airbrushed and perfect, and it no longer is art anymore. It's not painterly anymore. It doesn't look like brush strokes anymore. That's all crap. Because again, it's about having a maturity, having an understanding of your brush, having an understanding of your tools, and then knowing when to use them. Just like knowing that there is a difference between tracing a sketch, or a photo, and saying, oh, this is my painting. I'm literally just painting this off of reference. I have never used reference. I have never traced in my life. It clearly looks traced, and they're lying. That's not what we're saying. There's a difference between tracing and lying and passing it off as your skill, and tracing for educational purposes to identify measurement and numerical differences between your drawing, quantitative differences between your drawing and the reference. So there's like a middle ground to all of this. So I'm finding all these lines. I see these lines in my head. Why do I see these lines in my head? It's not because I'm a cyborg. It's because I measured for so many years. Lines were all I drew. I drew them everywhere. And my brain just started doing them automatically. It just became an automated process that just happens on its own. I see them everywhere. So you will also get to that point. You just have to give it some time. So right now what I'm trying to do is just get at least some of the likeness down before I render. And I'll talk about rendering. What's the difference between like rendering and how it affects how good the painting is going to be, and what we pick up off a reference, and measuring. Well, measuring again is about likeness. It's about the specific character in question. And rendering is about it's no longer about the face. It has nothing to do with a human anymore. Rendering is about light on form. It has no bias. It has no prejudice. It doesn't matter what it's shining on. Light will do what light does. Light doesn't care who you are. It goes on everything. And it has specific patterns when combined with different types of contours, etc. And different brushes help us pull off those effects. So her eyes are actually a little bit closer to her nose. Her nose is very slanted. And I'm just trying to capture all of this. Her nose is a little bit wider. And the inner corner of her eye and the outer corner are almost on the nose line. And we've got the mouth, we've got the chin, and we've got the general trend line that I'm trying to find for that chin area. And the chin is just generally much smaller, so I'm just going to use the pinch tool, and then I'm going to use the bloat tool and just try to get the exact same measurement. So before, after. The difference between this and this is that the measurements are definite now. We now know the actual reason why this and this are different from each other. It's numerical, it's proximity, it's stuff on a graph, it's numbers. That's all it is. And I know artists aren't great with measuring and math and all of that, but a straight line doesn't lie to you. Write that back to me. A straight line will not lie. There's no other interpretation for the straight line other than being a straight line. It's not going to lie to you. So if you draw these straight lines in your reference, they are consistent. They won't lie. They will carry the reference over for you. You don't have to do any eyeballing. And that's what you guys are trying to do. Not even the pros eyeball. They all use measurement. Nobody starts, at least the best sketch artists and painters I've ever seen, no one starts a painting unless they've done that painting, specific painting or specific face for the thousandth time. I don't know how to say that. Thousandth time. They memorized it by that point. So you really have to just trust the line. It's not lying to you. So now what I'm going to do is talk about exactly what you did wrong with the rendering. I think you guys worry way too much about the painting looking bad while you're doing it. You don't need to worry about that anymore. You can just block and blend as needed. Right now what's happening is that you blocked and decided that the block is all you need. So let me do something really quickly for you and show you just how amazing soft brush combined with smudge brush is. All right, and I'm going to take this bounce light. So you saw the bounce light, things you did right. You saw the bounce light. You saw the changes in value. Maybe you used an eyedropper tool. Even that you're allowed to do, by the way. You are allowed to do this. Grab and paint. Grab and paint. If all you care about is how to bring over, not to bring over, but how to blend and manage the same, because there's nothing you can do other than this and that to get exactly the same shadow, right? No one can do that for you, not even Photoshop. You can tell if something's been dragged and dropped, and that's it. It's all fake at that point. It's just photo manipulation after that. Not that photo manipulation is fake art or anything, but it's not raw rendering. You're doing it on your own. So if you want to use the eyedropper tool just to skip a step and get straight into the rendering, you are allowed to do that. All is fair in this. You are trying your best to teach your brain to learn a completely new task. It's all a learning tool at this point. As long as you're not being, as long as you're not saying that this was 100% without any help, as long as you were saying this is something that I did completely on my own, etc. That dishonesty, that's where all of those rules come from. That's where all of those taboos come from. Because I've seen it. I've seen artists try to pass off straight up tracing as actual skill. There's a really popular artist on Instagram who is asked to show their process, and they're showing the funniest little screenshots of nothing, and there's no process or brushwork visible. They're just showing a slightly faded picture, and then it's like they used opacity, and you can tell when they're being dishonest. Nobody can really get away with it. So don't be too caught up on, you know, what can I do and what can I not do. Do whatever it takes to get your brain to learn and don't worry about all those silly little rules, as long as you're being honest about your process. So I'm adding in, radially adding in that terminator line. And just look at that. You get the actual behavior of light on form. This isn't how light works on skin. This is how light works on form. Because as soon as you say skin, the artist starts to try to reinvent the wheel. They try to be unique with their process. They try to do this and that. They use a blocking brush around the neck, which is the softest, most cylindrical thing you've ever seen on the human body. Like second to the upper arm. It's the most blobby blob that you can have with the softest transitions, but you guys are using blocks. Like, who told you you could do that? A cylinder is a cylinder. It needs to be treated like a cylinder. And the way we paint a cylinder is with the soft brush. There is no other tool that can pull off what the soft brush can do when it comes to organic curvature. Meaning stuff that's curved naturally in nature, stuff that's curvy, can only be painted with a curvy tool. Do you guys understand me now? So I added that signature radial edge for a cylinder. Do you see how I'm referring to the neck as a cylinder? I'm not referring to it as a neck strictly. It's supposed to be like that. You are supposed to do form studies so that the form studies, and this is a key word, hijack your view of everything in the world. All right, so I'm radially dropping that neck shadow into that pocket. And you see how I'm in a new layer? That way I could erase comfortably and find that jawline. So form studies hijack your brain in a good way. They limit your brain's ability to rely too much on the line and panic and give you a line real quick. The form is still not exact, not the form, the likeness is still not exact. She kind of has like a thicker neckline, but the painting standalone looks great still. She slightly has a little less fat than that. She has a more pronounced jawline. I like the fattier neck because it's just more of that transition of value, and it's more fun to paint. That's why like the more hefty plus size models are really popular for life studies, because or like, you know, the what are they called, the news studies, the whatever it is, because there's just more fat to render, more little pockets, more organic shapes to render. And I'm just and as you get better, you start appreciating where all of the fun part of art is, and it's in this. It's in using the right tool for the right value. And then around the mouth is another example of how inexperienced you are with the soft brush, how much you're trying to do with the wrong tool. You're trying to climb a, like, I don't know how to, like, what metaphor I could use. You're trying to cook without a stove. Like, no, like you're trying to cook without fire. There, that's a good metaphor we landed on. You're trying to cook without fire right now when not using the soft brush for painting bulbous organic objects, which is fat pockets on the face. It's never going to work for you. You have to try to get over that fear of the soft brush and get into it. Maybe you don't have a fear of the soft brush. This is just one of many paintings you did. Right now I'm using my smudge brush. It's on my website if anyone's interested in it. It's the number 4 smudge. I use it a lot. I use it day in, day out for all you know, private tutoring or critique hours or my own paintings. This is my go-to brush. It's got like a soft scatter, a little bit of noise, and a little bit of texture, and it just does the job of an actual dry brush on acrylic or oil. And that's all I'm doing right now, is I'm just feathering out everything that needs to be feathered out, because you're done your blocking. You're just too afraid to take another step forward. Right here I'm going to use my hard chisel brush to kind of create that really, really strong edge. And so when you combine really strong edges in the same portrait as you have these beautiful soft transitions, that's when you start kind of really creating this eye candy in the rendering. That's what's fun about rendering, is that you can manage both extreme ends of the spectrum, soft versus hard. And I'm just cleaning up here. I got my harsh brush and I'm not afraid to use it. I'm just going in there and letting it do its job. The brick is doing the job of a brick and the feather duster is doing the job of the feather duster. Neither tries to do the job of the other, and the artist knows that. They know which tool offers them what. The smudge brush is basically the soft brush, but it's just doing a different thing with the pixels. The smudge brush moves around pixels, whereas the soft brush brings in paint. Brings in new pixels, let's say. Not really new pixels, but new paint. And it's the same thing here with the nose. We've got a core shadow and a terminator line. So all that is rendering, the world of rendering, is just too big to include it in one simple little critique. But the concept is still the same. If you are overwhelmed by the amount of fundamentals you feel like you have to learn, oh no, now I have to watch every one of her videos so I don't miss a single fundamental or something like that. You'll learn most of that stuff on your own just by doing form studies. Form studies, imagine form studies as the crash course for all of my videos. It's the same lesson. It's just always going back to the concept of a form study, which is study form outside of subject, meaning study a cylinder, not a neck. Study a ball, not an eyeball. You will replace your need for needing to binge all my videos and making notes. So if you are intimidated by my video history, just do form studies. Just do that, and that's not wasted time. If you're too intimidated to do anything and you're just sitting there staring at a wall, that's when you start wasting time. So just try it. Try the form study. See if you can get far. You will have this epiphany moment where you will not be able to turn off your brain's form searching. It will start seeing form in everything. That's the point, is that we're trying to hijack your brain's ability to give you lines anymore. That's when you mature. That's when you transform yourself completely. You no longer see lines. You just see form. And you know, some people still haven't understood there are no edges in the real world. They're still struggling with that. Like, they still haven't gotten over that part. And that's okay. It's cute. They're still, you know, getting into it. But I remember the day I had that epiphany. Hey, wait a minute. There are no lines in the real world. So how are these artists painting such amazing drawings? Because I don't see any lines. How does that work? And it's just a beautiful moment when I see it with my students. I love seeing them have that moment. And then how their art just instantly explodes in skill because they finally had faith and they just let go of the line and they finally have faith again. Or newfound faith in just the reference. The reference doesn't have any lines. It's just a balance of soft brush, hard brush, and a little bit of smudging. Well, a lot of bit of smudging. But the reason I think why some people confuse blocking as more important than soft brush, or more preferable to soft brush, is that it comes first. Blocking happens first in a drawing. So me talking about the importance of soft brush isn't me saying, hey, skip blocking, or me saying, or in another video, me kind of celebrating the blocking brush as me saying, don't use soft brush anymore. I'm just celebrating those different stages on their own, but both are required for a successful painting. So I'm just trying to show you how it's just these three tools. That's all I'm using to get these really, really nice transitions, lowering the opacity and letting your brush, your soft brush, layer the paint is how you get that really, really nice sense of auto-blended contrast that's introduced without damaging anything around it. Right, and a little bit of value here, moving upward. And then this whole section could use, if you squint your eyes, which is a great tool, could use a bit more shadow so it feels more like the shadowed side. And then this upper half of the painting could use a bit more white because it's on the lighter side. And we just get more form for what we're doing here. Right, so I'm just trying to manage the edge. And this is all I did. I just added a bit more light towards the top, just letting the light trend towards the top, finding that sphere and everything. The reason why you made the eyebrows so dark could be that you were line dependent still. I mean, that's not a question. If I were to diagnose you professionally, I would say this is a line dependent artist, 100%. You can see it everywhere. So learn to trust your reference. Your reference was right there telling you these eyebrows are gray, but you made them pure black. The reference was right there telling you these eyebrows are fuzzy, but you made them harsh edge. Why? Because the last time, or maybe you've just drawn more faces, or the first time you drew a face, you just drew an eyebrow like that, and that's it. And you got away with it, and your brain still thinks that that's enough, that that's not enough, and you have to keep trying. And everything about improving and being more realistic in your drawings is just trusting your reference, really. That's it. So I've stayed away from all the contrast mostly, just because I really want to focus on capturing all of the grays. And now I can go into those areas of the eye with like a quick pencil brush and just try to introduce those darker sides, starting with the pupil and then the lash line, and then a little bit here. Sometimes when it comes to the eye, since the eye is generally higher skill for all artists, they just know how to draw an eye better than everything. I let the eye, I kind of start freestyling with the eye. I do whatever I want with it. I kind of make it a little darker, brighter, stuff like that that you get away with easily. Okay, so no more guessing. I'm just trusting my reference. The measurements help me fix the likeness side of things, and respecting the soft brush and its importance help me fix the form side of things. And that's it. You've cracked the code. That's how you make your drawings look more realistic. That's how you bring in more realism. That's it. And soft brush needs to be worked. You have to zoom out in order to pull off the best of soft brush. The best of soft brush can be appreciated while zooming out. Write that back to me. So if you're not zooming out, you're really not understanding the point of it. If you're zooming in so much and you're working with a big ass brush like this compared to your canvas size, you're stabbing in the dark. You don't know how big an impact you're making on the painting. Zooming out shows you these large full-scale changes you're making to the painting, and how to make sure they're not getting out of control or out of hand. And then I'm just going to blend around here somewhere, here as well, blending there. And then there are darker pockets, there are sharper edges. Everywhere you look, sort of there's a little world, an ecosystem within an ecosystem of form. Just small pockets where we may have a little bit more sharpness. And I'm just finding these little pockets, cast shadows that want to stand out. And I'm just finding them. And guess what I'm doing now? My brush is small. Look, we graduated into the detailing stage. Congratulations. It's not that hard. You just have to stay zoomed out for the majority of the process, and let the brushes do the work they're supposed to do. And you can't block without zooming out. You can't soften those blocks without zooming out and blend them. You can't smudge too much without zooming out. Zooming out is always the standard. Every time I've started with a student, it's one of the biggest things I have to fix, is helping them trust the zoom out and let themselves, you know, like let go of that sense or need for control that comes with zooming in. It really is just a matter of control. It's just thinking that if you don't hold on the reins really hard and zoom in, that you're going to lose your horse. It's not true. You have to relax. You have to kind of just zoom out and let those tools do their best. And that's always while zooming out. And you can see likeness and measurements easier. Even the measurement stage, outside of technical skill, mathematical skill when it comes to, or like, you know, being able to eyeball measurements comes from zooming out, because you can't really see the difference in what you did versus what I did until you zoom out. So like, what are there enough reasons to not zoom out? No, but there's plenty to zoom out. There's a lot of stuff to argue that zooming out is always necessary and not enough for the other side. And I'm just blending here, finding all those little mini edges wherever I can. I'll rotate the canvas and see if I could use the canvas rotation to my advantage and grab like a highlighter and just try to reinforce that edge there and radially climb. So brush 1, brush 2, finding the light every time I climb higher, so I create this like step ladder or pyramid of value brush strokes that are piling up while still maintaining that edge. And I'm just detailing again, finding all the other edges. Opacity is 100%. And I'm going in and making sure that that overlap edge is merciless, that it is absolutely merciless, that it's just cutting right through. Why would they be blended? The nose is not connected to the face at the tip of the nose, is it? It's stacking over the face. So why would you even think that blending it is appropriate? Look how much better it looks when we actually let it be the edge that it's supposed to be. Any other edges, we're finding them, like the edge of this cast shadow right here. This is it. This is all it is. Those 3 tools, that's it. You can do anything with them. Blocker, soft brush, and your smudge brush. And they're all available in my brush sets. And they're also on sale right now, actually. They've always been on sale. I've never turned that sale off. It's been like 4 years. I put them on sale at one point and I was like, I'm gonna leave them on sale. Why? I don't know. I'm just gonna leave them on sale. And I never turned it off. And now I'm just trying to find these little detailed pockets, tiny little worlds within worlds, small changes in value here and there. There's a slight little contrast. Look at that. Everything is so in place. I have the comfort of zooming in now. What do you know? But the thing is, even this zoom in kind of gives me anxiety because I don't know if I'm going to put this brush in the right spot, but we'll see when I zoom out. But I wanted to zoom in to do it. It's not in the right spot, but I can adjust it a little bit. The zooming in, it's just, there's no reward. It's always, I'm fixing what I did when I zoomed in. The only time I zoom in is when I know 100% that I have to zoom in for this in order to detail this particular thing or object. Her eyes aren't that hooded, they kind of do this thing. And look, the edge of the face against the background can also be extremely harsh and unforgiving. This edge right here between the hair, I'm actually just going to rotate the canvas and use a larger brush to kind of establish that really powerful edge of the chin against the rest of the hair. Since I don't have layer access, I'm just going to do that. And what else is there? The neck kind of has like a little lean. I love it. So we're going to just do just like that. You're just going to let your brush do the dance. You're going to zoom out, find the exact angle, find that angle. I mean, even the neck, you didn't get it right. It's at this point, I have a question. At this point, does it take skill? Answer in the comments. Does it take skill to draw a straight line? Answer. Does it take skill to draw a straight line? It's a philosophical question, but it's got a definite answer. Like it's not something to be argued about. Does it take skill to draw a straight line? What do you guys think? Just a straight line using a ruler and a pencil. I'm not talking about freehand drawing it. Don't be smart with me. just drawing a straight line. Not really. Right? So you're getting a straight line out of a ruler. It took skill to use a ruler and draw a straight line? No, it took no skill. So that means, philosophically, if you think about it, and it doesn't take a lot of mental gymnastics. I'm not trying to do that. It means that if it doesn't take too much effort to draw a straight line, then the measurement differences between the before and after are not skill-based. Do you understand what I'm saying? That If it took so little effort to draw this straight line, then it must take very little effort to capture the likeness and measurements. So that means that it's not a skill to find the measurements. So then what is the skill? The skill is being able to see which brush needs to be used where and when to blend and when not to blend. That's the skill. If that's the skill, then what is the measurement? The measurement is for free. The measurement, the likeness is for free. You can have it. You don't have to bust your ass for years to learn how to be good at measuring. They taught you how to measure in kindergarten when they gave you a ruler and told you draw a straight line. It's for free. Anyone can have it. Anyone can have better measurements in their illustrations because it's for free. There's no fee. There's no skill fee behind it. If you know how to draw a straight line, you know how to draw better portraits. Okay, so yes, a lot of the changes today are because of my rendering and applying brushes where they need to go and doing what, you know, whatever it needed to be done to that paint that those brushes brought in. But a big part of the changes today are because of the measurement. Just getting the likeness down, getting the proportions down so it doesn't look like an ogre with its chin sticking out. Do you know what I mean? Like that was a lot of loss in anatomy and also likeness and beauty, and you lost tons of points with that. So measuring and likeness is free. Anyone can have it. Anyone can understand it. It's not skill-based. It really isn't. And I've been teaching for more than a decade, and I can tell you, you can learn it in a day. And it's not really learning it, you're just rediscovering that you can do this, and that's all it really is. The likeness is still not perfect. I only have so much time to make these changes, but we're here and we're doing what we can. Any questions at all? Yeah, measuring is not, it takes no skill to pull out a calculator and add two numbers. It takes no skill to pull out a protractor and make a circle. It takes zero skill. It's just the tool. The tool has been designed to make this process easier for us. So let the tool do the work and find the measurements you need. Stop trying to eyeball everything as if that's the standard. There is no gold standard to art. Everything goes as long as you are teaching yourself. As long as you're drawing and you don't listen to the demons in your head that tell you you can't draw, as long as you're doing that, really nothing else matters. Please just keep drawing. That's the point of all this, that you're learning how to draw realistically. So those characters in your mind come to life. And whatever you need to do to learn it, trace, whatever, do it. Measure, do it. Buy my brushes, do it. Whatever you need to get better. I'm joking. Buy my brushes. And I'm just blending a little bit over here. And I'm blending a little bit over here. Sometimes, if I'm late in the painting, I will bring down my smudge strength to like 8% or lower, just to get that feathering. I have also another smudge brush here that really feathers very nicely. You have a very, very low, this is a screenshot because it was just kept giving me a web file. So I have a very small canvas. My smudge brushes work best with like 3000 by 3000 minimum or 2500 because you have more pixels to throw around. If you have very little pixels to throw around, it looks funny. The far side of her face is looking just a little bit like it sticks out too much. So I'm going to do a couple more little changes and then we can see a before and after. I'm just going to do a full scan. So don't mind me real quick here. Just tuck that in. I could probably do most of these with the brush. The chin, the lip, and then the nose is more of a point, really. It's a big nose. It's like a French nose. Kind of elegant, kind of a really French face. And then a little wider on the corners of the eyes. Just squinting my eye to make sure I get everything. Just these little changes make a difference. I think her eyebrow bone's a little wider and lower. And it looks like a different girl, but at least it's closer than where it was before, and you'll see the before and after. Liquify, yep, valid tool, use it. Use it as much as you can, because Liquify doesn't auto-liquify. It's not an AI that fixes your painting for you. That's when you can start, that's when you can start charging and protesting and rioting against AI, the disease that is AI art theft, basically. The Liquify isn't auto fixing your draw. It's still another tool that you have to know how to use. You still have to know where the end point is, where the trajectory is of that distort brush. So it's just another valid tool. If you need to do it, do it. The point is, you are still responsible for how things end up looking. You are still responsible for the end result. Nothing is painting for you. Nothing is here auto-generating your drawing. As soon as you do that, you are no longer an artist. So all you AI artists, quote unquote, I hereby excommunicate you from my channel. You are not artists. Period. End of statement. You are not artists. I mean, if we sit here, we could argue till the sun goes down that you are artists because you put some poetic words together and the computer generated it. No, you can say that you're good at ordering food. You are good at ordering art. If that's an art, then I guess you are really good at ordering. And I've seen people do really, really cool AI creations, but they ordered it and the AI generated it. That's not the same as sitting here and making every single decision yourself with tools. That's a completely different thing entirely. You are an AI artist. It does not exist because it's antithetical. The artist creates. The artist does not sit there and ask something to create for it and then say, I created this. No, the artist creates. They by their own hand and mind. And that is it. That's it. You don't like it? The door's over there. All right, are you guys ready for the result? Let me just do that. And I may upload today's critique hour in full, just because it's the first one I've done in a while, and I want the message to be out there about all these brushes, about all these tools, about all of the idea behind today's critique, which is you have permission to be a student. You have permission to use the tools at your disposal. You have permission to use what stencils, what tools that are allotted to you as someone that is studying science in front of them. Any other scientist uses tools, protractors, calculators. You are allowed to use the tools in front of you. A straight line does not lie. What are the main points? Can anyone point them out to me? All the main points I made today. Can anyone list out some of the major bullet points behind today's class? I'm just going to strengthen this edge right here. Powerful, powerful edge. This nose edge shadow for the nostril of the hole is the edge of the whole nostril, sorry, is really, really important. Really important. Okay. Oh, thank you, Flynnet. Yeah, it's really weird what's happening. And then I've a lot of people who are really against AI. I mean, I'm against AI, period. But these people are like, they're on the front edge and fighting, for the rights of artists. They basically message me on Instagram and tell me, yo, I'm so happy that you have this attitude towards it, but take a look at how they talk about us. The way AI artists talk about artists is just, is just deplorable. It's like they were people who wanted to be artists but gave up, and so they resent us or something because we didn't give up. It's really really deplorable. It's like they just want to take away everything from artists. It's like they hate us or something like that. So I cannot sit by anymore. No to AI art indefinitely. As long as they're monetizing it, I thought it was just a, you know, innovative, friendly little, hey, look what we can do now. But it's not, apparently. It's really, really malicious, and it's out to make money. And any studio worth their salt would never use AI art. And if they do, I hope they get exposed. All right, so let's take a look at the before and after. Everybody ready? There are still likeness issues, likeness differences, but the majority of the changes are now acceptable. The face is nice. It's nice to look at. Another quick thing before I let you guys go, I want to slap this artist on the wrist. What are these brushstrokes? You know, what is this roughness? What are these repeated brushstrokes you're using for the hair up here? Exactly the same brushstroke over and over and over again. Why would you do that? If this, and this line are all different sizes, and this clump and this clump are like medium sizes, but they're very different from each other, you don't see any repeated lines. Your brain is telling you that, hey, all of this stuff is going in this direction. That's all I remember. That's all I remember. Your brain basically told you, hey, this is all I remember. Now, I'm not hating on the brain. The brain is the most cute, adorable servant. It is here to serve us. It is literally trying its absolute best. But we just have to understand its limits and teach it better things to give to us when we're trying to draw. The brain is not our enemy. Your brain is not your enemy. You just have to unteach unlearn these habits. And so when you think about what hair does, this is why you drew these little lines that are so repetitive. You didn't stop and strategize. You know, this brush, if I were to draw a straight line over it, what does it look like? How about this one? How about this section here? Different sizes all around. So this is what you need to be doing, and grab those sections and try to imitate them here, just like I did with everything else. Stop listening to those parts of your brain that are trying to make a quick summarization of what they just saw, and just draw what you saw. Don't be poetic about it. Just draw what you see and stop there. No further than that, please. So let me see what everybody says. It's people who never even tried holding a pencil. Yes. Let's see if nobody wants to show me line soft brush proportions. Nobody wants to give me bullet points on today. Everyone's just on the AI. That's okay. I opened the subject. All right, everybody ready for the before and after? Remember, all I did was I respected the reference, managed the measurements, respected the line, depended on the measurement line, I mean. And then everything else after that was a really good combination of soft brush and smudge brush to manage the organic transitions of value and the radial shades and terminators, and using blocking brush for all of the edges, both stacking and harsh edges of, you know, where the cast shadow ends. And that's it. So before, after. Let me just do it that way. So before, after, before, after. Let me see if I could align it exactly, because I forgot that I actually, here we go. Before, after. So what I'm going to do is just let the canvas expand, because I forgot that I did not have that in the originals. Okay, so what are we seeing here? We're seeing proportions managed. The lower half of the face of a female is almost always smaller than the upper half on average, because the female face is void of testosterone. Testosterone changes the face. That's what changes your entire bone structure. So the lower jawline stays pretty like soft, baby-like. And women just don't have a very, very thick neck or very big jaw that men have. So that was the thing that was really making it look so distorted. The other thing was all your edges were just haphazard. You had soft edges where you needed to have a harsh edge, and you had harsh edges where you needed to have a soft edge. And this is how I know you're guessing. The reference literally told you, bro, there is a harsh edge right here and a soft edge right here. Why did you do the opposite for both? Why? And then there's just the general likeness, the face, the, let me see if I can just change this so that it stops flashing. Merge down. All right, so the face is more pretty, and that's because we reduced that lower jawline being so much bigger. So remember Elf and the Ogre, and then the placement of the eyebrows expanded the size of the eye, so it made it look a little bit more pretty, as well as the presence of your core shadow, the bounce light and the terminator. All of that is from your reference. There could be a little bit more work I could have done, but I don't have the time. So Critique Hour is back, and if you want to have your work critiqued, I'll critique this piece next time, since it's a whole other field, a whole other subject. So if you want your work critiqued, you want to get your stuff looked at, you want to post studies like this and improve, you want to get a critique from me, and every single one of these critiques is free. This is just somebody posted it on the subreddit, I grabbed it, and I did this class for free. So there's a huge free portion, majority of this community, all of it is free. The parts that aren't are clearly labeled. This is private tutoring, this is Patreon, etc. Speaking of Patreon, patrons are now allowed to hand in 14-day challenges to their homework. So every patron, every apprentice gets assignments, and every month they get a whole new assignment, either their diagnostic or their character design, etc. It changes month to month. But now they are allowed to ignore that homework and just focus on their 14-day challenge. So if you are a 14-day challenger and you are desperate for a critique, you can join as an apprentice. That's the $20 a month tier. It doesn't have to be forever. It can be just as long as you are getting your critiques, and then you can leave. It's not a lifetime commitment. You can just do whatever you want month to month, especially if you are just here to improve your portraits. You can do that. I will still critique the portrait. It's not going to be an hour-long portrait because everybody else hands in their homework, but I spend a good 15 to 20 minutes talking about the 14-day challengers, looking at all the portraits, looking at all the major problems, and helping you move your portrait studies along. And of course, there's the $1 tier for anyone interested. To get all these links, just go to istebrak.com and click on the Patreon icon right here to join Portrait Studio and my masterclass. And if you want to know more about how to render, how to use soft brush, how to use blocking brush, just ask anyone who's ever used the masterclass and learned from it. I teach you all of these tools, and you get the brushes in the masterclass set as well. So there's no room for failure. It is 100% success. Everyone who's ever used it has learned something, and it's obvious. It's visible in their work that they have improved. Please consider buying that. It's on sale at 50% off. I'm not sure how long the sale will last. Maybe a week or two. I don't know. Maybe after April. But it's on sale at the moment. You can learn way more detail from me about how I render, how I did what I did today. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. To get all these links, go to istebrak.com and click on the subreddit icon to join and submit your work. Also, if you go to the subreddit and check out the post pinned at the top, the Floral Humanoid Design Challenge is officially live. I'll cover this a little bit more for the next critique since it's going to be about character design. But if you guys are interested in joining, you get my masterclass for free, you get a portfolio review for free, Portrait Studio for free, and all my brushes for the winner, whoever posts. And it's not about who drew it the best, it's about who put in the most effort. So if you guys want to win all these things and have fun and have a really cool portfolio piece at the end, please consider going to the subreddit and checking this out. It's free to join, it's all free, 100%. It's just a design challenge, a contest for anyone who's interested. All right, I'll see you guys next class. Bye.